All right, let's dive right into the whirlwind that has been the Chicago Bears roster situation following their preseason opener. After watching their game against the Miami Dolphins, there's a lot to unpack, especially with the influx of new signings and the inevitable cuts that must come with them. The Bears have just brought in 3 new players: safety Mark Perry, quarterback Mike Gardner, and quarterback Caleb Hayes. These moves didn't come out of nowhere. The team's secondary has been hit hard with injuries, leaving them scrambling to fill gaps and stay competitive. 6 defensive backs currently nursing injuries means the Bears had little choice but to add depth in those areas. On top of that, they recently placed a player on injured reserve, which opens up roster spots, but also means that for every player they add, there has to be a corresponding move in the opposite direction, whether that's cuts, IR placements, or other roster adjustments. This sets the stage perfectly for a deep look into who might be on the chopping block as we inch closer to the regular season. Starting with wide receiver Tyler Scott, it's hard to feel optimistic about his chances. Watching him on the sidelines during the game, he often seemed isolated, not really involved in the action. His stat line didn't help much either. Just 1 catch for 7 yards across the entire game. It's not just about one preseason game, though. Looking back to last season, Scott barely saw the field. Despite the coaching staff changes, he found himself stuck behind players like DeAndre Carter and Colin Johnson, which was puzzling considering he was expected to carve out a role for himself. Now, with a crowded wide receiver room featuring players who are stylistically similar but more productive or versatile, Scott is fading to the bottom of the depth chart. Devin Duvernay has gotten meaningful snaps early on, showing value on special teams and offense alike. Maurice Alexander has been capitalizing on his chances as well. Simply put, Scott isn't just on the bubble. He's skating dangerously close to the outside looking in. Unless something drastic changes, it's tough to envision him making the final 53-man roster. Moving inside to the defensive line, Jonathan Ford's situation also looks shaky. Last year, he showed promise after being picked up from the Packers practice squad. He flashed some potential as a run stopper when the Bears needed it. But in the preseason opener, his performance was underwhelming. He played nearly 50 snaps, which is a decent workload, especially in brutal heat, but his impact was limited. While he graded better as a pass rusher, that's not exactly what the Bears need from his role. He's stuck behind some established names like Javon Dexter, Grady Jarrett, and Andrew Billings, not to mention Shamar Turner, who is injured but expected to be back in the fold soon. Chris Williams appears to have the edge, and even Zach Pickens, despite some inconsistencies, showed more spark, including a sack during the game. The battle for that final defensive tackle spot seems likely to come down to Ford and Pickens, but both could be on thin ice if Turner returns fully healthy. The defensive tackle room is crowded with talent, and Ford's failure to stand out puts his roster spot in serious jeopardy. When it comes to edge rusher Trey Flowers, it's a mixed bag. Pro Football Focus gave him a decent grade for the preseason game, and it's true that he seemed to finish stronger than he started. Early on, though, the Dolphins' offense appeared to exploit him, making plays against him consistently. Flowers missed a couple of pass breakups, but he showed resilience bouncing back later in the game. Despite that, the sense that he's past his peak lingers. His speed looks diminished, and he was often trailing receivers. The Bears are thin at the cornerback position due to injuries to key players like Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, and Terrell Smith, which might give Flowers some breathing room on a roster for now. However, watching him struggle against Miami's very defensive looks raise questions about whether he can still perform at the level the team needs. His experience might buy him time initially, but the clock is definitely ticking on his ability to hold a spot on the final roster. Center Doug Kramer's status is complicated by injuries. He's been sidelined with various issues, and that has limited his chances to prove himself. While the Bears don't have a true backup center lockdown, Ryan Bates stepped up during the preseason opener and showed he can handle the position. Bates' flexibility to play multiple spots on the offensive line and his relative health make him a valuable asset, especially as Kramer's durability remains a concern. Luke Newman, another interior lineman, has also impressed before exiting the game due to a concussion, which suggests the Bears have some solid depth that could edge Kramer out. Without a defined role, especially since there's been no word on him taking on a fullback position, Kramer's path to the roster looks narrow. His size makes him less versatile than some of his competitors, as he's mostly limited to center or an emergency guard role. With Bates demonstrating consistency and health, Kramer's injury troubles and limited role make his place on the team uncertain. Wide receiver J.P. Richardson has had a decent training camp, but the crowded receiver room and his style of play might not favor him making the final cut. He didn't do anything glaringly wrong in the preseason opener, but also didn't make any standout plays that would strengthen his case. On the other hand, UDFA receiver Jadeveon Walker made a strong impression, showcasing size, downfield ability, and playmaking that could give him the edge. The Bears' receiving core is loaded with shorter, quicker slot receivers, but what they lack is a reliable, bigger-bodied receiver to stretch the field and offer a vertical threat. That's precisely the kind of role Walker seems poised to fill. Richardson, meanwhile, faces stiff competition not only from Walker, but also from Deon Duvernay, who is trusted as the punt returner and continues to make splash plays on offense. Maurice Alexander's early involvement also pushes Richardson further down the pecking order. It's not that Richardson has been poor, but the numbers game and the team's needs suggest his uphill battle will be a tough one. In the bigger picture, these moves and potential cuts reflect the Bears' attempt to balance depth, talent, and health as they prepare for the grind of the NFL season. The injury situation in the secondary forced the front office to make immediate signings, which triggers a ripple effect across the roster. Players on the fringe now face a pressure cooker environment where every snap counts and performances are scrutinized closely. The preseason is a critical time for these borderline guys to prove their value not just as specialists or backups, but as key contributors on special teams or in niche roles. Those who fail to show versatility or impact quickly find themselves outmatched by younger or healthier players who can fulfill multiple roles. Take the case of the defensive backfield, which has been battered by injuries and forced the front office into quick action by signing Mark Perry, a safety who has shown flashes but remains unproven at the highest level. Perry's addition points to how thin the Bears are in the secondary. With 6 defensive backs sidelined, the team's ability to field a consistent and reliable defense in the secondary is under threat. This makes every practice snap and preseason minute critical for the players competing for those spots. The new signings create pressure on the incumbents, who must not only recover from their injuries, but also prove they can outperform the newcomers. The Bears need players who can make plays, cover ground quickly, and have the mental toughness to handle the complex defensive schemes. It is a tall order for anyone on the roster bubble. Quarterbacks Mike Gardner and Caleb Hayes were also brought in recently, signaling the Bears' intent to add more competition behind the starter and develop potential depth. Both players have had their moments in college or in limited professional opportunities, but neither is a guaranteed roster spot. Their arrival means the current backup quarterbacks have to raise their game. In the NFL, quarterback depth is crucial, especially in a physically demanding game like football, where injuries can occur at any moment. Gardner and Hayes' presence serves as a reminder to the current roster. Complacency is not an option. Every practice, every snap counts, and the Bears coaching staff will be watching closely to decide who deserves to be part of the final 53-man roster. Revisiting the wide receiver group, the competition remains intense. Tyler Scott, whose future with the team seems bleak after underwhelming performances, is not the only receiver on the edge. J.P. Richardson struggles to find a defined role highlight a broader issue for the Bears: how to balance the mix of smaller slot receivers with bigger targets. The team lacks a true X receiver with size and physicality to command attention downfield consistently, which makes the emergence of Jadeveon Walker particularly intriguing. Walker's combination of size, hands, and downfield speed is a rare commodity, and his ability to contribute early could tilt the scales in his favor. The Bears' offensive scheme thrives on creating mismatches, and having a versatile receiver capable of lining up both outside and in the slot provides valuable flexibility. Special teams also factor heavily into these roster decisions. Players like Maurice Alexander, who have carved out a niche on coverage units or as returners, often find themselves with job security even when their offensive or defensive snaps are limited. Coaches value players who can contribute in multiple phases of the game, especially when injuries force constant adjustments. This is where veterans like Trey Flowers might eke out a spot despite declining athleticism. His experience and willingness to play special teams could keep him around longer than some expect. Yet, even with that, the trend across the league is toward younger, faster players who can keep up with the pace of the game. The Bears will have to weigh Flowers' veteran savvy against the potential upside of younger players who can also make an impact. The offensive line also remains a battleground, with Doug Kramer sidelined by injuries and Ryan Bates stepping up to handle center duties in the preseason opener. The balance of power seems to be shifting. The line's health is paramount to the Bears' offensive success. Protection schemes depend on chemistry and consistency, and having backups who can plug in seamlessly is crucial. Bates' ability to flex between guard and center while staying healthy gives him a significant advantage. Meanwhile, Luke Newman's solid play before his concussion adds another layer of competition. Kramer's lack of versatility and ongoing injury concerns put him in a precarious position. The offensive line coaches will have to make tough calls, weighing experience versus availability and adaptability. On the defensive front, the competition among the defensive tackles is intense. Jonathan Ford's performance in the preseason opener left much to be desired, especially given the crowded nature of the position. The Bears boast a deep group including Javon Dexter, Grady Jarrett, Andrew Billings, and Shamar Turner, who is currently injured but expected to return soon. Chris Williams and Zach Pickens are also in the mix, with Pickens showing more promise in the opener despite some earlier doubts about his overall ability. The defensive tackle position is critical for controlling the line of scrimmage and disrupting opposing offenses. The Bears need players who can fill roles both as run stoppers and pass rushers. Ford's inability to consistently impact the game places him at a disadvantage, and he faces stiff competition from players with proven track records or more dynamic skill sets. The coaching staff's decisions over the next few weeks will be pivotal. Preseason games and practice sessions are proving grounds, but so is the ability to stay healthy and be ready when called upon. The Bears' injury situation complicates matters. Some players might make the roster initially due to injuries ahead of them, but face an uphill battle to keep their spots once starters return. This fluidity makes it essential for every player on the roster bubble to be ready at a moment's notice and show they can contribute in multiple ways. Versatility is king in today's NFL, and those who can play multiple positions or excel on special teams have a clear advantage. Looking beyond just the individual performances, the Bears are building a team that needs to balance youth and experience while maintaining flexibility. The front office and coaching staff have to consider not only who is best today, but who fits the long-term vision. Players who may not make the final roster could still find opportunities on the practice squad, which serves as a developmental platform. The practice squad allows teams to keep promising players close and ready to step up in case of injuries or other roster moves during the season. For players like Richardson or Ford, even if they don't make the initial cut, the practice squad can be a lifeline and a chance to prove themselves. The intense competition for roster spots also reflects broader NFL trends. Teams want players who can adapt quickly, learn new roles, and contribute across multiple units. Specialists who can only do one thing well are less likely to stick around. The Bears' current situation, with injuries forcing rapid changes and signings, underscores the importance of having a roster full of adaptable, high-character players who bring energy and commitment every day. Those traits are often what separate players who make the cut from those who do not. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors have been swirling around the NFL community, and the latest buzz suggests a major shakeup in the defensive lineup of the Chicago Bears. According to insider whispers and unconfirmed sources, Jadeveon Clowney, one of the most feared edge rushers in the league, is reportedly set to join the Bears for the 2025 season. If this turns out to be true, it would mark a significant reinforcement for Chicago's defense, a unit that has struggled to consistently apply pressure on opposing quarterbacks in recent years. Clowney's arrival could inject a new level of intensity and skill to the Bears' defensive front, potentially altering the team's dynamic in a way fans and analysts have been eagerly anticipating. The veteran edge rusher, known for his explosive speed and ability to disrupt plays, might be exactly what the Bears need to revive their defense and make a strong playoff push. While official announcements are still pending, the buzz is building fast, and the NFL world is watching closely to see if the Bears will make this blockbuster addition a reality. The potential signing of Jadeveon Clowney by the Chicago Bears has already set social media and sports forums ablaze with speculation about how this move might change the team's defensive strategy. Clowney, with his proven track record and formidable physicality, is rumored to bring a much-needed spark to a Bears defense that has faced criticism for its inconsistency and lack of pass rush effectiveness. Analysts are debating whether his presence on the edge could free up other defenders, creating more opportunities for sacks and tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Additionally, Clowney's experience and leadership qualities are seen as invaluable assets, particularly for mentoring younger players on a roster. There is talk that the Bears coaching staff might redesign their defensive schemes to capitalize on Clowney's versatility and explosiveness, potentially making Chicago's defense one of the most feared units in the league. If the rumors are true, this could be a pivotal moment for the Bears, signaling their commitment to rebuilding a competitive and intimidating defensive force in the 2025 campaign. Sources close to the Bears' front office hint that discussions with Jadeveon Clowney have been progressing steadily, fueling optimism that an official agreement could be announced soon. The Bears are said to be impressed by Clowney's dedication to maintaining peak physical condition despite his years in the league, and they see him as a perfect fit for their evolving defensive identity. While contract details remain undisclosed, insiders speculate that the deal would reflect Clowney's value as a veteran edge rusher capable of turning games around with his relentless pursuit of quarterbacks. There's also murmurs about how Clowney's signing might influence the Bears' draft strategy, possibly shifting focus away from edge rushers to other defensive needs. Fans are already envisioning thrilling game moments where Clowney's speed and power lead to crucial sacks and game-changing plays. However, some skeptics caution that the Bears must integrate Clowney carefully to maximize his impact, especially given his injury history. Nonetheless, the excitement surrounding this rumored acquisition continues to grow, painting a hopeful picture for Chicago's defensive prospects in 2025. Adding Jadeveon Clowney to the Bears roster could have far-reaching effects beyond just on-field performance. Rumors suggest that Clowney's star power might boost the team's overall morale and invigorate the fan base, which has been eager for signs of progress in recent seasons. Clowney's presence could also attract additional media attention and potentially make the Bears a more attractive destination for free agents in the future. Conversations among sports commentators speculate on how this move could influence the NFC North race, potentially tipping the balance in favor of the Bears as they prepare to face rivals with strong offensive units. Moreover, Clowney's rumored signing fits into a broader narrative of the Bears' front office, showing increased ambition to build a championship-caliber defense. The team's social media channels have yet to confirm anything, but the hype around Clowney's arrival is palpable, with fans eagerly waiting for official word. If these rumors materialize, the 2025 season could mark a new era for the Bears' defense, redefining their identity with Clowney as the cornerstone of their pass rush strategy. Despite the excitement, some voices within the NFL community urge caution, reminding fans that rumors often precede the unpredictable realities of professional football. There is speculation about how Clowney's past injuries might affect his performance and whether the Bears' medical staff can keep him healthy throughout the grueling NFL season. Questions also linger about how the defensive coaching staff plans to integrate Clowney's unique skill set alongside existing players and whether salary cap constraints might force difficult roster decisions. Still, the buzz surrounding Clowney's potential move to Chicago has reinvigorated hope for a defense that has been searching for a true game-changer. The possible addition of such a high-profile edge rusher signals that the Bears are serious about competing at the highest level. As the offseason progresses, fans and analysts alike will be monitoring every development closely, eager to see if this rumor transitions into one of the most exciting acquisitions for the Bears in recent memory. Only time will tell if Jadeveon Clowney will become the defensive force that Chicago desperately needs for the 2025 season and beyond. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.